Hello everybody, this is Johns Hopkins with Baltimore Heritage, and we're back with another of our 5-Minute Histories videos. And today I am inside 1106 North Charles Street. And if that address alone isn't enough to let you know what's going on, I am sure that you know where I am. It's the Brewer's Art. It has been here 29 years, holy cow. I am thrilled that I'm going to be joined in a second by Volker Stewart, who is one of the founding partners and the owner of Brewer's Art. 29 years, Volker, I think that makes this historic in and of itself. But before I turn it over to Volker, let me say a word or two about the building and where we are. It was built in 1901 for a gentleman named William Graham Bowden. Bowden was a partner at the investment firm Alex Brown, the oldest investment firm in the United States. It got started, just a little aside, in 1810 by Irish immigrant Alexander Brown. He came to Baltimore with its hustle and bustle of ships leaving the port out to the world carrying all sorts of stuff, coming back in from the world carrying even more all sorts of stuff. And he and his partners became very wealthy in investing in our commerce. In fact, it was doing so well even 100 years later that Bowden could afford this mansion, to build this mansion, largely considered the first fireproof house in Baltimore. The house stayed in the Bowden family for about 30 years, but then went through a dizzying array of different uses. In 1930, it was sold to a design firm called J.G. Valent, They specialized in heavy stuff like custom furniture. They built a 4-story addition on the back, complete with a freight elevator to carry that heavy furniture. Unfortunately, 2 years later, the Great Depression walloped them and they went out of business and everything was auctioned. By the 1940s, this had turned into an office building. There were a number of firms here, I think would today call them HVAC firms, but heating and cooling firms. One was the Climate Control Corporation. They installed boilers and radiator systems in people's houses. Down the corridor from them was something called the Petroleum Terminal Corporation that supplied heating oil, presumably to the folks who had just bought a boiler from their sort of office mates here. By the 1960s, there was an engineering firm here called J.E. Greiner. You may not know that name, not quite a household name, but maybe it should be. You know their work. The Harbor Tunnel, BW Parkway, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, all designed by that firm whose office was here. And then beginning in the 1970s, this building became a series of places for higher education. In 1970, a college called Bay College moved in. It had been founded a year before, sort of catering to urban kids from disadvantaged households. In 1970, here you could get a degree in liberal arts or business, or get this, environmental science. 1970, Baltimore's own Bay College offering that degree. They moved on to a bigger place, eventually merged with Stratford University, and in came Antioch College. You could get not only a bachelor's degree here, but a master's degree in things like media communications. They gave credit for what they considered life experience. And then finally it went back in the 1980s to another design firm, Myers and DeLeo. I hope I'm saying that right. And the amazing thing is, through all those changes, this interior, fabulous interior with its dark wood and its plaster medallions on the ceilings, its working fireplace behind me, all of that has largely stayed intact. But I'm going to stop there and turn it over to Volker Stewart to talk a little bit about the Brewer's Art and about being part of this wonderful, wonderful historic space for almost 30 years. Volker, we're all yours.
Thanks, Johns. Hi, folks. I'm Volker Stewart. I'm the founding partner here at the Brewer's Art. We've been making beer and food here since 1996, so just had our 29th anniversary in September. The way we found this building was a little peculiar. We were looking in other parts of town to open a brewery restaurant, places like Fells Point that seemed like more logical spots. Almost signed the lease in Highlandtown. And then one of the people I started the business with was walking up the street and saw a for lease sign on this beautiful historic mansion. We came in and took a look at it, figured out, hey, we could actually put a brewery in here and a kitchen and lots of seating. The interior was spectacular. You certainly didn't find too many places like that around the city. I think the thing that strikes me every time is the carved wood on the ceiling of the brewer dining room. Every time I go through there, I take a look up and just kind of think, wow, somebody put so much artisanal effort into this thing. It really puts some of the art into the Brewer's Art. Did a couple of expansions over the years to increase our brewing capacity, and are now selling about half the product we make here on the premises to our lovely customers, and the other half goes out of the building to be served on tap somewhere near you maybe. When we started brewing, we made very sort of Belgian influenced beers, and we have since diversified a little bit. We're doing beers that are rooted in different parts of the world. Our brewer's from the UK, and he's been here for 5 years. Been here at Brewers Art for 5 years. He was at another brewery in Baltimore for many years before that. So we make some English ales once in a while, and we'll make some lagers too. And currently we also have a very American West Coast IPA on. So it is a cross section of beer styles. The names are all pretty situational. The sort of apocryphal story about Resurrection Ale was that the first time we made it, the yeast just kind of petered out on us. And we were like, okay, now what? We got this half fermented beer. It was probably bad yeast management on our part at the time. We were pretty green, but we managed to massage it back to life. And hence the beer was resurrected and it became Resurrection Ale. If you haven't come in a while, come see us. We are right on Charles Street between Chase and Biddle near the historic Belvedere Hotel. And yeah, check us out, www.thebrewersart.com.